society today. No part of the world is immune from the risks that this space and this platform poses to our way of life, to the social fabric, and even to public safety and security of the people of the world. Honorable Chair, this platform, including all the social media platforms, including TikTok, now have become a possible and real, not really a possible, but um, a real theater for misuse by criminals to endanger public safety and security. TikTok and other social media platforms are increasingly being used to spread malicious content, which is illegal, unlawful, and a violation of fundamental rights and freedoms. Chair and members, TikTok and other social media platforms are increasingly being used to also generate propaganda, including propaganda for war. Terrorist groups, including the famous ones in our corner, Al-Shabaab and others, are using social media platforms, including TikTok, to generate propaganda for war and also to generate the propaganda to advance the ideology of terror and so forth and so on, including um, real or even concocted terrorist activities that are posted on these platforms to spread fear to communities, to populations about the invincibility of the terrorist organizations. And it's happening across the world. A major platform for propaganda for war, but also malicious and unlawful content in this space. Chair, this space is also being used to steal, hijack, and control popular accounts. If a person is a popular account holder of a TikTok account, they risk hijack, control, and hacking of their accounts. And this has presented security managers around the world with tremendous law enforcement challenges. The stealing of personal accounts, hijacking them. Some even ask for ransom as a way of releasing their accounts back to their owners. This hijacking and stealing of accounts also has embarrassed public officials, celebrities, high-profile individuals, including business people and high net worth individuals. This space of social media, including the TikTok space, is also being used to dupe the people of Kenya and the people of the world into fake and unlawful commercial transactions, including luring the people of Kenya and the people of the world to fake foreign exchange trade business opportunities, fake job recruitment programs that end up conning members of the public in Kenya and across the world. The biggest challenge, however, is on the violation of the privacy and dignity of the people of Kenya through the use of this space to generate offensive sexual content, including spreading pornographic material and also exposing children to pornographic content and unlawful, inappropriate sexual content. This TikTok space and other social media spaces and platforms have been used to post intimate images, especially through the live feature. The live feature of TikTok is being used as a platform of circulating offensive, intimate images, some of it maliciously posted there, some of it deliberately posted there, and this has exposed especially our children into early exposure to destructive content in the pornographic and sexual space. These risks, as I have enumerated them, Chair and members, pose severe distress in our society. The risks pose severe social distress to users of TikTok. It also exposes minors to inappropriate content and also promotes social discord for the reasons which I have explained. What is the government doing about this? Chair and members, we have one of the most robust data management and data control laws anywhere in the world. And if anybody doubted the modernity and the sophistication of our legal regime, they will see how, for example, we reacted to the WorldCoin matter, and therefore what we need to do besides the proposed adjustments of the existing law is actually to enforce the existing law. If it is well enforced, we have a very robust legal system. And therefore, the current law, which is the Data Protection Act of 2019, as supplemented by the data protection regulations, require data controllers and data processors, including now TikTok, because TikTok falls in the category of data controllers and data processors. They are required under the laws of our country to comply with various compliance obligations under the Data Protection Act and the Data Protection Regulations. The compliance requirements include implementing data protection deliberately. And this includes implementing the data protection principles in an effective manner, integrating and implementing appropriate technical and organizational measures to protect personal data and register, and they are also required to register as data controllers or data processors with the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. We as government also, through the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, have contacted TikTok. The government of Kenya is in contact with TikTok, and we have raised concerns relating to the way TikTok is processing their data related activities. In particular, the government of Kenya has requested from the owners and operators of TikTok to provide to us the levels of compliance with our laws, namely the Data Protection Act and the Data Protection Regulations. We have also asked them to explain to us the measures that they are taking or they intend to take to ensure the privacy of individuals is respected in accordance with the laws of our country. At the moment, we are not satisfied that there is compliance. We are waiting for the explanation from TikTok. We, as government, have also requested or required TikTok to demonstrate to us their compliance with the requirements of all the laws of Kenya relating to data protection. We have also required them to provide details of the effectiveness of age and verification and content filtering processes. If at all they have any age verification and content filtering procedures as they run that platform. We have also asked them, chair and members, to tell us what they are doing to implement Kenya-specific supplemental terms in the privacy policy, considering the provisions of our laws. In other words, we have asked them how they are customizing their data processing in the TikTok platform to comply with the law of our country. The government has also required TikTok to demonstrate full compliance, and it's only after that demonstration that we'll also require them to register with the Office of Data Commissioner of the Republic of Kenya as data controllers and data processors going forward. Thank you, Honorable Chair and members.
Thank you, Chair. Before I give a round of questions, we have a member who just walked in. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Good morning, Waziri and team. My name is Honorable John Bwire, Member of Parliament, Taveta constituency.
Very well. Kandia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank the CS for giving a detailed presentation on the issue of TikTok. Mine is only to ask the CS, because everybody is talking of the benefits of these content creators and economic benefits. Has anyone quantified the economic benefits of this TikTok? Number two, from your presentation, the ills of TikTok outweighs the economic benefits. And can one be right? For example, from the way you said, they need, first of all, to comply with our data protection laws. Can we say now we ban TikTok until they comply?
You'll note, Waziri, and then I will give you an opportunity to reply. Mheshimiwa Owino.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Waziri, for the comprehensive presentation. Just to ride on what my brother also has asked, you've listed things that you have requested TikTok to bring or to comply with so that they can be licensed to operate. When did you send the request for those things, and have they responded? And do we have time frame for their response? And what do we do in an event where they don't comply at all with whatever the government has requested for? Do we shut them down until they are fully compliant, or what happens? Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Nyanze.
Thank you, Chair. Um, Thank you, CS, for the good presentation. My concern is on the use of technology. We find Kenyans are really very good at embracing new technology. And I don't know whether our government or whether we are proactive enough to counter the evils which come about with the technology. In this case, I'm talking about the countries of origin for these technologies, especially when we talk of TikTok and World Coin. It's like they are not embraced in the countries of origin. But when it comes to Kenya, we are very good at embracing new technology. So I know you have talked about the laws and the requirements for people to be registered. But how can we, in the future, ensure that we are more proactive so that we don't just react after we see the evils?
Since we are not many, I can allow all of us to do one round. Honorable Bwire.
Thank you. Waziri, I'm just going through your presentation, especially the last bit where you have indicated that in particular the office seeks to ascertain the level of compliance of TikTok with Data Protection Act in order to understand what measures must be taken to ensure privacy of individuals is respected in according with the laws. And then you have gone ahead and identify the areas which you thought that needs clarification. But I have only one concern. As a government, until now, are we saying that we do not know? We are not able as a government to answer the question as to whether the data of the privacy of Kenyans, and I've seen very senior government officials on TikTok, are we saying that we do not have that information? Because my thinking was, if we were to rely on an answer from TikTok on that aspect, if for instance they come and just say yes, your data is protected, do we have checks and balances to verify and confirm that whatever information that they are going to give to government in relation to data protection is actually the correct position in terms of protection of privacy of individuals?
Very well. Honorable Muriuki.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is a brief one because most of the questions have been asked. Waziri, I want to thank you for a very, very good presentation, which is very well balanced, not inclining or skewed to any side. My concern is when these social platforms are starting to operate in Kenya, at what point is the Ministry of Interior involved so that they can assure or they can ensure that the Kenyans are well protected? At what point, Waziri? Because they are operating, and when they are operating is when you are raising concerns. At what point are you supposed to involve? Thank you.
Waziri, you could take those ones, and then I have one last concern after you have responded to this.
Thank you, Chair, for the the members for the very good clarifications and questions, which are direct and straight to the point. Chair, I think the question by the member for Baringo Central on the issue of quantification of the economic benefits brought by some of these media platforms. We will perhaps, because in the process of processing the whatever recommendations will come from this committee, we will be wanting to engage with our counterparts in the National Treasury to help us do an assessment. I don't think what we have are individual cases which are reported of how content creators are making this amount of money per day, per week, per month. But I think we need to have a multi-agency assessment because it's important not just to get the facts right, but so that it will inform the balances that we need to strike. Because if something is of significant economic value, then you need to see how, instead of saying total ban, you can have a limited control and make sure you seal the loopholes where the disadvantages and the risks are coming through to make sure that you don't kill an industry. In any case, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, it is our view that the place of social media, the internet, the artificial intelligence, and big data has reached an irreversible stage in the world. So we should also ask ourselves whether we want to shut ourselves out from the fourth industrial revolution completely, or how do we manage it so that it doesn't destroy our country? But the point where we are in the world today is that the drivers of the fourth industrial revolution are irreversible, not for Kenya, for the whole world. And you know, the previous industrial revolutions, Africa has always been left, and that's why we are where we are. So we have to really think, and I am not, I would be the last person as the country's security minister to encourage risky conduct or conduct that impairs or harms public safety and public security. But there are certain realities we have to live with. You see, when the motor vehicle was discovered, the issue of road accidents was a major issue. Even the aircraft, many centuries later, more than a century later for the aircraft, 2-3 centuries later for the train, we are still having accidents, and we have not killed that industry because there are certain balances, certain benefits that we just try and reduce the risks. Even as we speak today, road traffic accident is a huge thing. You've already seen the kind of public sentiments at the moment. Actually, from me, I'm appearing before the Transport Committee to respond to some of the things we are doing around traffic. So even as we think about what this petitioner is asking for, we must contextualize. So I agree that there is need for us, so that we work with facts, to quantify, and we'll work with other agencies and coordinate a process where we have some figures, and it's not a difficult thing to do, because it's just economic projections, estimates, and what have you, between us, the planning ministry, the National Treasury, the tax people, and other relevant agencies, the IT people. We can be able to, and also the creative industry. There's a department, a directorate in the sports ministry which deals with the creative economy. Between us, we can have a fair projection of what this sector presents in terms of the actual current contribution to our GDP and also the years to come. I don't think at this stage we are in a position, in my humble view, to declare that the dangers presented by TikTok outweigh the benefits. It's a bit premature. I am inclined to be persuaded once we have a bit of factual and evidence-based policy positions developed. And this is what we should be doing. And between the executive and the legislature, I think we should work out a program where we have a policy that is evidence-based to help us assess whether the risks are greater or they are more prominent than the benefits or vice versa. Number three, do we ban TikTok until they comply? Again, for the reasons I have said in the first two questions, it will be premature. And what we are doing right now, that engagement is a procedural requirement of the current law. You don't just wake up and say, okay, we think this is happening, and then you. So it's an engagement because we have also been seized of this matter. Even outside this petition, we've been seized of this matter. And I think the letter from the data commissioner, I can't confirm the timeline, but the act also provides for timeline and also the constitution, because this is whatever measures the country will take is administrative action. If you look at Article 47, it says you must have a procedural. There's a procedure of arriving at an administrative action, including listening to the people who are likely to be affected by that action, giving them an opportunity to be heard. And it doesn't matter the merits of their case. Even if their case is weak, they must be allowed to present the weak case. And when I was in law school, we used to be taught by our teachers that the right to be heard is an undeniable right. Even if somebody has nothing to say, they must be given an opportunity to say the nothing before action is taken. So we have a time frame. I can't remember the number of days they have been asked to. Then the fourth issue was what happens if they don't comply. We take action, period. And I mean, it's not rocket science. We'll do it very fast. We did with WorldCoin and other people. We'll do what we must do if they don't comply. In fact, it's not a request. It's I didn't use the word request. I said we have required them. It's not a request. You don't enforce the law through requests. You enforce the law through demands, directives, orders, and requirements. Then finally, I think two small other, not small, but two other additional things. I am not sure whether my sister, the honorable member for Kitui West, the Honorable Nyenze, I humbly disagree that we embrace technologies more than the countries of origin. Maybe some of the more advanced countries, and that is a discussion we should have as a country. There are some well-to-do countries who are very slow in embracing new technologies, and that they are doing well. For various reasons, they are also doing well. So we should not attach embracing technology to our prosperity, because there are countries who are still prosperous, but they have been very careful in embracing new technologies. But there are also very successful countries who have embraced technology big time. So I think that's what I think around that. But I hear you that as a country we must, because of the serious public security, public safety, public health, and the social interests posed by some of these technological applications, we must apply the precautionary principle and always be cautious before having a widespread application that is risky to our members of the public. Is the government saying we don't know whether or not there is compliance, whether or not the controls are there. We have an idea. As security managers, we have an idea what the risks are, but as I said, procedure demands that the person affected by administrative action be given an opportunity to explain themselves, whether they have merit or no merit. Let them say what they want to say. We will triangulate that answer with the information we have before we take action. We will still verify what they say. In other words, we are not going to depend on the responses they give us. We will have to verify it, triangulate it, and independently, we have a way of ascertaining what they are telling us, if it is true or not. Finally, I was asked, have I left out anything, Mr. Chairman? I'm processing so many things at the same time. Have I left out anything? I'll be happy to be assisted.
Can I also ask for your indulgence that if there is any member who feels that any of their concerns have not been addressed, kindly raise it up. Okay. Right. Very well. As you process that, let me. Kandie.
It's only maybe to inquire from the CS whether he is aware that TikTok is banned from the original country, China.
You're asking a now a different question.
No, I think he's clarifying my question.
Yes.
That I said that
Yeah.
TikTok in particular is banned in China.
In China.
That is where it originated from. WorldCoin. At that time, it was also banned in the USA, where it originated from. So I think it was clarifying my question.
Okay. So was it?
Chair, I agree with both members, both the Honorable Nyense and the Honorable Kandie. The China thing is true. The US thing, not entirely true. I know there was an adverse report by the US Senate, but it was not really banned. In fact, the American government is pushing the Kenyan government on that WorldCoin issue, but we have remained very adamant and firm because we have first to ascertain the public safety and public interest matters. They think they still have a case and so forth and so on, but we have refused to budge, and the position we took remains the position, and we have no reason to review it. So, but in the US, there was a Senate inquiry that exposed certain risk areas, which I think is what the Honorable Nyense could be referring to. But the Chinese thing, I am aware of that. And so we are somewhere in the middle. Both the two members and myself, we are all right.
Very well. Was it where I come from? We are very careful how we name children. You know, this Chinese company, TikTok, the owners of TikTok, they are called ByteDance. You know, that in itself tells you there's something to be worried about. Maybe one needs to check more. Waziri, there's something about Chinese that every person, every country in the world wants to be careful about. And this is all about security. The Chinese are very fast in everything that they do. I think they have, if people are fair, we can say they have really overtaken even the US and other big economies. Yet the Chinese laws have compelled this company to submit data before any processing, before it goes anywhere out there. In fact, these ByteDance people, they have challenges operating in China because of the rules that are there. The concerns of this country, and as I said, many other countries, is about their security, national security concerns over potential access to data by this Chinese company. I am not saying that Kenya doesn't have any serious data that we want to protect, but I think we do. And in the process of doing that, and I think that is why the US is very particular about this, and other countries also. So, Chair, Waziri, sorry, the petitioner has raised many concerns, and specifically around this area. Through engagement of TikTok in Kenya, and we know that everyone, almost everyone, is in this TikTok one way or another. People who hold critical government information in their phones, could it pose a danger? And if it could, what then are we doing about that? Because that is the genesis around it. That if we have a senior government officer, for example, who is in TikTok, or their children are in TikTok, and they're innocently engaging with this TikTok, as I said, they're called bite dance. They dance away with our information. The US, with the 52 nations, are they? There are 52 states. 34 of them have prohibited their senior government officers from using this app on government devices. I don't know what we are doing about this ourselves. I don't know if we have, do we have a policy? Is our government requiring? And I'm very careful. I've now learned today that there's a difference between requiring and requesting. Has our government requested? No, required. A senior government officers, Waziri, around this matter, because then if it's a risk, then it is an overall risk. Thank you.
Chair, I agree with you. The question you pose defies a simple answer. It's a complex matter there, and the balances. You have given the example of the Chinese authorities and how they control, and there's a little matter that this app could have originated from there, and then but still they are requiring a lot of control around it, and I don't see any contradiction there, because you can create something that brings problems, and it doesn't mean if you create something and then it brings unintended consequences, you don't control it. Could be a honest scientific and technological mistake. It has happened in many other places where a laboratory experiment has gone haywire, and what you do as a honest and responsible government of any country is that you still have to deal with those consequences before they harm the population, notwithstanding that you are the creator of that technology. I don't see any contradiction there. But I agree with you, Chair, that, for example, in that country, controls, even on other platforms like WhatsApp and so forth and so on. And thirdly, the issue you raise about policy on who and how do we allow that platform to be used is a valid question, which right now is active before the National Security Council. As you are aware, our Ministry in Interior coordinates the cyber security program of the country under the NC4 arrangement, that is the Cybercrime and Security Coordination Committee, which brings together Ministry of Defense, ourselves first. And when I say ourselves, it's the police and NIS, and then defense, and then ICT people to be able to guard our cyberspace. This matter is so complex and so consequential that, and remember, Chair, as I started by placing this problem in the fourth industrial revolution deliberately, just to show how complicated and how it's not easy for us to just look one way and say, let's decide this. Now, traditionally, national security has been viewed as operating within three spaces: the land, that is all the territory within the borders of the country; the sea, for those countries that are coastal; and the airspace of the country. That is the traditional way of national security. And if you look, for example, at defense arrangements for Kenya and defense arrangements for the world, you have the army to protect the land. You have the air force to protect the airspace of the country, and the navy to protect the shoreline for any risks emanating through the sea. Today, a fourth space called the cyberspace is the theater of risk. And therefore, going forward, we should invest in internal security and defense arrangements that creates a fourth defense tier. Maybe not as part of the military, but we need both military and internal security expertise and technology people to provide the fourth arm of our country's defense. And that is the arm that will defend our cyberspace. The potential of that space to hurt the country is big. But as I've said again, the potential and the potential and the irreversibility of the cyberspace and its contribution to our national development going forward is again undeniable. So as you process this petition, I want to invite you with a lot of humility, not only to look at the quick fixes of what we need to do and seal whatever loopholes exist at the moment, but have a long-term, comprehensive, and wholesome look at things and help the country beyond banning or not banning TikTok, so that we have a cyber security solution, because the threat is real and big, the opportunities, potential, and irreversibility is also real big. And that's all I can say for now. We will be keenly waiting to hear what this committee will be recommending, and I'll be more than happy to come and engage again and get the assurance from me and my colleagues in the Interior Ministry. Cyber security and technology, ICT technology threats are as big a priority as our other priorities on the defense of our land and also our borders, even as we collaborate with our brothers in the Ministry of Defense. I submit.
Thank you, Waziri. I think we are coming to a close of this engagement. I will ask if there is no banning issue, we could request the CS to make now a submission, a final remarks, his final remarks procedurally, so that then it appears like we have concluded, so that we don't have it connecting with the questions that we did ask. Waziri, you have the floor for the next few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I want to thank first the petitioner who brought this petition before Parliament. Secondly, to thank Parliament and particularly the Public Petitions Committee for prioritizing this petition. Honorable Chair, this petition raises very grave issues, and the issues that this committee is faced with in terms of making a determination are issues that are at the heart of the security and safety of our people. The platform of TikTok is a platform that brings huge benefits for Kenya and the world. Commercial benefits, social benefits in terms of ease of communicating, but also assisting corporates and even public officials to engage with members of the public. However, besides these benefits, there are grave dangers posed by this platform and other platforms within the cyberspace. We are in active engagement with the owners of this platform, and soon we will be triangulating all the information available and making certain decisions for the interest of the country. Honorable Chair and members, the cyberspace presents a major place where the country can be hurt and the members of the public can be hurt, including our children. And therefore, we have prioritized it where it belongs. And I want to report to you and to the country that this matter of how we can strengthen our cyberspace is an active agenda of the National Security Council. We want to invite your contribution, your recommendations, and we'll be very happy to implement the recommendations of this committee. And together between the executive and the two houses of parliament, we should guide the country in creating the legislative, policy, and administrative framework that will protect the country from any threats that are posed by the use of the cyberspace. I want to thank you for inviting me. I want to thank you for accommodating and giving me the courtesies you have provided for me and my the colleagues from the ministry. And I look forward to engaging with you again in the near future. I submit.
And it is so granted. You will engage with us many times in the future. Waziri, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity that you have given us. I want to, this is also a good opportunity for you, Waziri, when you come to a forum like this. We are your agents. You know, you've done well in the country so far. We may not have the yardstick, but we feel it feels good, and we want to give you 5 minutes with the members. They can give you a brief of what is going on. I know you have a lot from your area, your specialty, but also listening to these members, it is a good opportunity for you. It enriches your space in terms of making decisions. So if I can, I can. Yes, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has attended today's meeting, specifically my members. Thank you for making time. Waziri is an early riser, and I know the discussion earlier was oi 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 oi. But then thank you so much for keeping pace with our waziri here, and the secretariat, and every other person, the ministry, everyone who showed up, the media and everyone. If I can take now this opportunity to ask the rest of you to just step aside and stretch as we remain behind. You will just have 1 minute each because he has other engagements.